Brawlers, welcome to the Brawling Pit. We talk about all things casual and kitchen table magic, like Brawl and EDH. You're listening to episode 34. I am Johnathan Tang, and he is Jacob.
Howdy, fella.
Howdy, fella. How are you doing today?
I'm not bad, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
What are we doing today?
Last week, we talked about the Faraska deck, and it was a tribal deck. So it got me thinking a little bit. Maybe we should keep riding the tribal train. Today, we will talk about a list of tribal staples that are played in Commander. Just have like a general information kind of thing, because we got off of a tribal set 2 blocks ago, and 2 Commander sets ago, there was a tribal set as well for the Commander. So maybe it's a good time to, kind of like a 6 months review, like a look back and see how have things changed. Like, are these still good, or are some of the staples back then still staples now? So that's what I want to kind of dig into.
Ever since I started playing more and getting into the whole, just like immersing myself more into the game and knowing what all the different strategies are, like tribal, I've always thought that tribal was just like, it could always be, and I'm not saying this was their intention, by the way, don't confuse them. I always thought that tribal could always be like some weird analogy for like modern day racism. But that's just my own twist in mind. That's not at all what Wizards probably intended at all. But we can do it. Let's make it work.
So you're saying like the goblins are,
the goblins are being oppressed.
And the merfolks are not really talking to the goblins?
No, not at all. All these different tribal groups are being oppressed, and we have to help them.
So, which groups are being the oppressive one?
The oppressive ones are actually the players, and in order to stop being oppressive, you need to give your money to Wizards of the Coast right away.
You should start GoFundMe.
No need. There's already a big donation incentive to atone for the sins that we've committed as players. All you have to do is just buy a booster case. That's 6 booster boxes from your local game store.
6 booster boxes?
Yep. That donation 4 times a year for each set. And,
Or for half the price, you can pre-order the upcoming Ultimate Masters.
Yep,
which is
that.
$335 for a box, MSRP.
Yep. All you got to do is just give Wizards your money. And
you got the regular number of packs that comes in the master set, and you also have a box topper, which is 1 of 40 masterpiece, and you hope to God you don't open the manland, because those are the duds.
That's sad. There was a point in time where it's like, I hope I open manlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, but now they're in every pack, so. Well, it feels like it,
Yeah. So, tribal stuff. What are tribal decks?
They're decks that play a bunch of the same creature type with synergy and payoff for playing those creature types.
Yeah, and what were some upsides or downsides of playing tribal? Do you know?
Well, I mean, like, one upside is that typically you get to play with really awesome payoff cards that, if you're not in that tribal, they're just awful. But in the tribal, they're really, really strong, and oftentimes they make the deck. And,
I see.
Yeah, but one downside though is that you need to reach this critical mass of the same creature type or similar creature type, basically, and that typically means that you're not going to be able to play every single good card. In a way, you get to unlock new power and benefits by playing tribal, but at the same time, you are also limiting yourself and shutting yourself off from some other good effects too.
I see. So what I'm hearing is it's kind of like a double-edged sword, where by limiting yourself to specific tribes, you get to unlock some potentials that only tribal deck can achieve, because it cares about the tribe so much that it pushes the limit of what that creature type can do, but you can only play those creature types. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, and I mean, like, while not technically, technically you don't have to just play those creature types, but oftentimes, you want to keep your deck as close to the minimum as possible. Like if you're playing a 60 card format, play 60 cards. I would not recommend getting cute and playing 61, 62. Just don't do it. Same with the EDH 99 card format plus a commander. Like don't play 100, don't play 101. Just don't get cute and just stay at 99. It's not worth the extra one. Like almost never.
Yeah. I agree. And there are a lot of very strong commanders out there that makes or breaks a tribal deck. So I think one of the more popular ones that was released in Commander 2017 is Edgar Markov.
That guy is broken. I don't care what anybody says. That guy's broken.
I'll say he's all right, but Jacob doesn't care about what I say.
He's only all right. That's our title, by the way. Edgar Markov is only all right. Johnathan Tang 2018. That's our title.
Edgar Markov is 3 red, white, black for a 4/4 Vampire Knight legendary creature with Eminence. And Eminence on this card says whenever you cast another vampire spell, if Edgar Markov is in the command zone or on the battlefield, create a 1/1 black vampire creature token. It also has first strike and haste, and whenever Edgar attacks, you put a +1/+1 counter on each vampire you control. Those vampires
dumb.
Yeah, those vampires don't need to be attacking. For the Eminence effect to happen, Edgar doesn't even need to be on the battlefield. And it doesn't even have to be vampire creature spells. It can be a vampire tribal sorcery or tribal instant.
And Soren, Lord of Innistrad, he's a planeswalker, and Soren, he's not a vampire himself, but he makes vampires. And he also has a pretty decent emblem, which it goes with what this deck is trying to do.
And
I would play him I would play Soren even though he's not a vampire. I'm not sure. Like I think EDH is to the point where like EDH is so powerful they probably don't play Soren.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see it as like a certain tech, but like Soren is a good card. I'm not saying Soren Lord of Innistrad is a bad card. Soren is a great card.
I think every single Soren cards are good. I can't think of a bad Soren card. I would recommend not playing the Soren card that has the -3 of setting someone's health to 10. I'm not saying don't play it.
Yeah,
it's not fun for me.
And it's like this is a good card, but I suspect that vampire deck is beyond the likes of this Soren card, and that's saying something. Yeah.
Soren would be very flavorful in the Edgar deck because Soren is Edgar's son.
I would play it for the flavor win.
They're father and sons.
Yeah, I'd play it for sure.
Other than vampires, there are also some very strong commanders. Like for example, one that probably doesn't need any introduction is Kumina, and that's one of our Merfolk commanders. And Kumina Tyrant of Oraska, right? 1 green-blue for a 2/4 Merfolk Shaman. That's basically a planeswalker when you tap your Merfolks.
I've heard some disturbing news recently.
What is the disturbing news?
I've heard that the Merfolks are being treated with some less than acceptable. I don't want to say this, man. It's bad.
What?
I don't want to say it.
Say it. Do it.
They're being turned into fish burgers.
What?
Yeah, I'm not kidding, man. We can't allow this to happen anymore.
Oh my gosh. What? Hold on. What are fish burgers?
They're burgers made of fish.
Basically,
what you do,
it's like a fish sandwich.
Yeah. But what happens is, the natural predator of the Merfolk, right? They and also the not so natural predator of the Merfolk. All right, they cast out these nets and they catch these Merfolk in mass quantities, grind them up, and cook them into fish burgers. And I've heard from the Ravnica newspaper that they're delicious, but I've never actually heard of them. I've never actually ate them because I don't agree with this unethical treatment of Merfolk.
Wait, there are Merfolks on Ravnica?
Well, I mean, they get shipped and imported. It's a very wide
from
supply
other
chain.
planes.
Yeah, and it's a very wide supply chain.
That's amazing.
It is. It's quite amazing.
Oh wait, there are actually Merfolks on Ravnica. That's crazy. That's the entire Simic Guild.
Yep. And the Simic Guild needs to pay for their need to pay for their actions. This is unethical treatment, and something needs to be done.
Okay. I think you are feeling very strong about this. Do you have a cause on social media or perhaps like a GoFundMe page that we can go and check it out and
Yeah,
perhaps support?
you can check out this cause and join the cause and help us out and follow us at brawlingpit.com.
Okay, we'll definitely go there and check it out. Yeah, so I mean, we gave 2 examples of very powerful commanders, and coincidentally, they just cover all 5 colors. But if you want to think about, look at more different tribal commanders, there are a lot of them out there, like Gashaf, like there are a lot of them out there. I'm sure you won't miss them once you see one. Oh my gosh, do you think Krenko or Kikijiji? I don't know which one would be more powerful. I think they would be about on the same level. Kikijiji is more of a combo rather than
I can't answer
tribal.
that in good faith. I can't do it because I think they're both insanely powerful, but I'm biased towards Krenko because when I was a Wii Magic player back in when I first started getting going in the game, I made a blue-red Krenko deck.
Oh boy.
It was the best or worst thing that a new player could possibly construct ever.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Fortunately, in Commander, you can't play blue in the Krenko deck.
Yeah. Thankfully, but not thankfully.
Yeah.
Sucks for the Krenko players. Imagine that. Imagine if you could, in EDH, you could say, my commander's Krenko,
yeah,
but I also get to play blue.
Oh boy, no. I don't want you to play blue. Stay away from me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, let's start off by going to our staples. I mean, there are a lot of them, so we kind of divided them into... I think it's probably the easiest for us to divide them by colors. And let's start with the lands because every deck needs lands.
Let's start with brown.
And the first 2 lands that we're going to talk about are extremely similar except for like one very minor difference. And... well, 2, but one of them is in the rules text and the other one is in the price because of the rules text. Caverns of Souls and Unclaimed Territory, they're both lands that when they enter the battlefield, you choose a creature type. You tap to add colorless to your mana pool, or you can also tap to add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool to cast a creature spell of the chosen type. Now, if you are playing Unclaimed Territory, and that would be it. But if you're playing Caverns of Souls, Caverns of Souls, that spell can't be countered.
So Caverns of Souls is basically strictly better than Unclaimed Territory.
It's absolutely strictly better.
Unclaimed Territory is, pretty good still. And by the way, this is already assuming that you're not playing Command Tower, or I mean you're already playing Command Tower. That card also just goes in literally every deck.
Yeah, so. But that not really like tribal specific. I cannot think of a single deck where you don't play Command Tower.
No,
maybe like the mono color deck you don't need to, right? Because there are
if you're
not basic hates.
Yeah. And also like if you're playing like if you're playing maybe like mono black and you want like the swamp payoff, then that's not a swamp.
Yeah. So exactly. But these 2 cards are very similar. One of them just says creature spell you cast can't be countered.
Yeah, they're like the same thing.
Good, which is so good.
Good.
Unclaimed Territory is like a 25-cent card, and Caverns of Soul is like a $79 card. So we can, from that we can induce that the line and that spell can be countered is worth about $78.75.
And one thing I would like to advise is this is a somewhat of an anecdote from my competitive days, which I've long given up. But I think it's applicable in EDH because in EDH sometimes the games can go quite long. In competitive, it was best, and it might seem dumb, but it was best to write down the creature type on Caverns of Souls if you were playing multiple creature types in your deck. The reason why was I had a buddy of mine that I was watching. He literally lost a game over a dispute of what Caverns of Souls was. So yeah, it was not fun. Like he couldn't prove what the creature type was. And at the time, I'm not saying this is the correct ruling, but at the time the judges ruled no creature type. I have no idea how that worked, but it was a comp environment too. So I don't know how that was supposed to be ruled.
Wow.
But they disagreed over what the type was supposed to be, and that could have all just been avoided if he just wrote down what it was.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So and while EDH isn't exactly competitive, sure you could play EDH, a 4-man at a GP, but like most
it's still you go by the honor system, even if you're playing
Yeah. So
at a
if you're
GP.
so if you're expecting a long game, just write it down. You know, like in case the game goes
Yeah.
like 3 hours and it's not
I mean-
relevant for like an hour.
I mean, if you're playing a deck where your commander is clearly an elf commander,
yeah. Yeah, like if you're just playing like
they're not gonna call a judge on you for by saying he named Eldrazi when he played Cavern. They're not gonna do that.
No, they're not gonna do it. Like if it's really obvious, like if your deck is like 90% elves and your commander is an elf, like you named elf, you know, like it's not.
Yeah, they're not gonna name Eldrazi, right?
No.
Like
no, that's not that. So what happened was I think he was playing like the Aristocrats deck. And that one did play Cavern of Souls, and that one has like human, wizard, spirit, vampire. So that one wasn't as clear. But like I know, another example which didn't personally happen to me. But it's like if you're playing like modern elves and you play Cavern of Souls for some reason. I'm not sure why you would, but let's say you play Cavern of Souls. You don't need to write that one down because your deck is literally all elves. There's like even if you didn't write it down and you somehow forgot or your opponent forgot and they disputed it. Like a judge, thankfully we have somewhat of a quote unquote common law system where like the judge looks at it and rules and like, well, I mean, this is probably what happened. You know, they give you some charity and leniency in that. Like, okay, his deck is literally all elves. What else is he gonna name? You know?
Exactly. I played against a friend a couple months ago in Brawl, and I'm gonna hear from him for bringing this up on the cast. But he was playing a dinosaur tribal deck. He had unclaimed territory in his hand, no lands, no other lands, and a land or elves. He named elves with the unclaimed territory, just so he can play the land or elves. But he's in a dinosaur deck. But he's in a dinosaur deck.
Yeah. But like,
you think it makes sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think that makes sense. I mean, like, it depends on like how long I want to wait on that elf. Like if I really need the elf, like if I really need to get going with my plan, I could see myself like doing it if I'm desperate. But if it's like turn 1 or whatever in Brawl, and this is a slow format, and I have other lands in hand, and I don't need the elf like this turn, you know, like I probably wouldn't do it. But it depends on circumstance. So like if he's like really starving for mana, I can see him doing it. But
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't agree with his play, but okay. Now he knows he has allies.
Yeah, if he had like a really explosive turn next turn, like if it was like, okay, if this elf sticks and I draw a land next turn, I like win the game like next turn. If it was like that, I might also go for it. But if it was just like, I mean, this hand kind of sucks, but like I'm just gonna be casual and play it out, and I don't really have a really awesome thing to follow it up with. That seems kind of loose. So
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll let him know and have him give him the timestamp to scroll to that portion of the podcast to let him know that he has supporters out there. But then,
well, I'm a conditional supporter. I'm a conditional supporter. It depends.
Sure, but these two cards are kind of like mana fixers for your.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, they're great. The next card is kind of like that. It already taps for all mana that you can have in your deck, but it does a little bit different thing. Path of Ancestry.
Yeah, and Path is actually really cool. Because basically, it enters tapped, but the payoff is when you do untap and you get to use it, you get to add 1 mana of any color to your pool. Obviously it has to share a color with your commander, and whenever you cast a creature spell with the same creature type as your commander, you get to scry 1. And scry 1 time might sound really weak, but like if you get to spend the whole game like scry 1 every turn, and we usually say a scry 1 is worth about half a card. So like we've talked about before, if you get to draw 2 cards a turn, that's great. This is like, you get to draw 1.5 cards a turn, investing absolutely no additional resources just for carrying out your game plan. I love this card.
Yeah, this card is really strong. Especially if you get to untap Path, now you can just keep flushing the top of your deck out. Really, really good. But the next card is also relatively good. This one serves a completely different purpose. So Mutafol is just a land that taps for colorless, but you can pay 1 to have Mutafol become a 2/2 creature with all creature types until end of turn. That's still a land. Now, this is useful when you have a board that cares about having a creature with that creature type. So, for example, if you are in a situation where you have a lot of lords and some of those lords are giving creatures a certain bonus, for example, unblockable. now you can totally just Mutavault into not a 2/2 creature, but it's gonna become like a 8/8 creature of fear. That's quite good.
I have really fond memories of this card because I played the crap out of it when it was in standard. So, I played mono black, not as much as I wanted to. Played mono black, played mono blue, and played blue white control. Now, my blue white control was quote unquote win conditionless. Okay. Typically back in the day, the decks played Elspeth as a win condition because Elspeth kills you pretty quick when you're out of cards. But I didn't play Elspeth because I was like, I'm gonna be cool and play more counter spells, and I'm gonna get everybody in my LGS to hate me, but like not really. So,
Oh, you're so edgy.
yeah. So my win condition was literally Jace Ultimate, Jace Architect of Thought Ultimate, which I'll spare you the details, but basically the ultimate, I get to I get to look through my opponent's deck and steal their best card and cast it for free. That's the ultimate.
Oh my gosh.
Or Mutavault.
So the win condition is in your opponent's decks.
Yeah, it's my win condition is in my opponent's deck or Mutavault. I like deal 20 damage to them with Mutavault. Like, and then if they kill my Mutavault, it's like, okay, well, I guess you want this to take another 20 minutes because I had Elixir of Immortality. Like that was literally just go infinite. So I remember my most fun game was it was like literally a 40-minute game with this guy that was brand new, but he didn't know any better, and I kind of feel bad in hindsight. Was he literally like didn't know he could scoop, but I wasn't killing him. So I was just like, end of turn, rev for like 7 or something disgusting every turn. And like, I got to the point where like I could rev for 7 like every turn and then Elixir, rev for 7 Elixir, rev for 7 Elixir, never decking myself ever. And like having all the counterspell mana up in the world, he was never going to resolve anything in his life ever. And was just, he killed my Mutavault sometimes and be like, okay, I'm not going to spend a counterspell on that. It's like, oh, well, I'll just get it back in like another 5 turns and beat him down with it again.
Wow. You discovered the Lantern Control ISK deck in standard.
Yeah. Yep. And do you know what Planar Cleansing is? Well, just in case the viewers don't know, Planar Cleansing is a I think it was it was 3 white, 6 mana, 3 in the white and 3 generic. Destroy all non-land permanents. Now that was pretty good because at the time there were a lot of planeswalkers and these planeswalkers were quite good. So the really fun combo to do was Quicken, which is an instant, which says next sorcery can be casted instant speed, basically for 1 mana, and drew your card. Quicken, Planar Cleansing. It was like the greatest blowout in the world, and nobody saw it coming for months.
My gosh.
So that was one deck I played Mutavault in. The other deck I played was Mono Blue Devotion, and that one played Master of Waves, which had a Merfolk synergy. Elemental synergy, sorry. And that one pumped all your elementals up. And so Mutavault could be quite strong for a manland. And then one cool trick with Mono Black Devotion was it played Pack Rat. And we've talked about Pack Rat many times before. But basically Pack Rat gets Pack Rat is Star, and you can copy Pack Rat on its own text ability. And Mutavault is all types. So a trick was to go into combat with these rats. Maybe they're 2/2s or 3/3s. And then your opponent will make even blocks, and then you just turn your Mutavault sideways. You wouldn't even attack with it. You just turn it sideways. And it's like, okay, activate Mutavault. And then you have another rat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. But yeah, Mutavault is quite good if you're in that type of creature deck that cares about, for example, like the rat deck that cares about having like 1 extra rat, then Mutavault will be like your go-to land. Let's move into the non-land colorless cards. There are a lot of them. Like there are way too many. So we kind of like broke it down into we kind of like narrowed it down into just 6, and a lot of them like do the same thing. So
the brown cards.
Yeah, we're gonna start with the ones that are essentially anthem effects. The
brown cards. Just say it. They're the brown cards.
They are the brown cards. The first one is Obelisk of Earth.
Wait, you mean Obelisk of Turd, right?
It is a brown card called Obelisk of Earth. So it's 6 mana for an artifact with Convoke. You brawlers out there who are listening when this episode was released would be very familiar with Convoke. Your creatures can help cast a spell. Each creature you tap while casting this spell pays for 1 colorless mana or 1 mana of that creature's color. So 6 mana artifact with Convoke. When it enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type, and creatures you control of the chosen type gets +2/+2. This is especially strong when you have like a token synergy on your tribal deck, and card is amazing. But that's all it does. It's +2/+2 Anthem.
Obelisk of Turd is the best brown card ever.
Moving on to the next card is a Door of Destinies. It's 4 mana for an artifact. As Door of Destinies enter the battlefield, choose a creature type. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, you put a charge counter on Door, and creatures you control of this chosen type get +1/+1 for each charge counter on Door of Destiny. This gets out of hand quick.
It's disgusting. I hate it.
It is so disgusting. It's like putting Obelisk of Turd in front of the door.
Actually, Door of Destinies, back when this was in standard, wasn't that good. It was too slow.
Yeah, but in a slow format like Commander, and when you can go out of control, when you just
so dumb. Bro, you have Door of Destinies, and plus Path of Ancestry. It's like, okay, and then on top of it all, you're playing Slivers, like Slivers, Scry.
Oh boy.
Slivers, Scry, counter.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's way too strong. Slivers, by the way, is like one of the most powerful creature type out there.
They're good in Modern too. They're decent.
They're amazing. Also, Ally is something that you want to look into if you're interested. It's very strong in Commander. People don't play it a lot anymore because I think it gets old after a while. But no, well, vampires are good, but allies are allies is like my pet tribe. I love allies.
Yeah. With Door of Destinies, every time I heard Door, I always thought of Door to Nothingness. That was a cool card.
That's true. That is not tribal at all, but
no, it is not. But I thought it was a cool card. That's all.
It is a good card. However, next card we have is Vanquisher's Banner. Most of us are familiar. It's still in Brawl, and it's 5 mana for an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, of course, you choose a creature type, and creatures you control of the chosen type gets +1/+1. But whenever you cast a creature spell of that chosen type, you draw a card. Similarly to the last card, it cares about when you cast the card, and this is very, very powerful as well.
What if you have Edgar Markov out, right? And then you have Door of Destinies, Path of Ancestries, and you Vanquisher's Banner. So you play a vampire spell, scry, draw, counter on Door of Destinies, make a vampire.
Oh my god.
That's viable. That could like reasonably happen in that deck. That's what I hate.
Oh my god.
That could reasonably be a thing that happens in Edgar. That's like a reasonable draw. Well, maybe not all three of them at once, but like...
I mean, it works in... Hold on. Is it enter the battlefield? No, it's when you...
No, when you cast. On cast.
Okay, so you're saying on cast.
Yeah, you play a
one.
vampire. Yeah, you play a vampire, you scry one, then you draw a card.
Yeah, it can happen. It doesn't have to be Edgar. It can be any commander.
Any commander. And that's what we were talking about. Is like, as I just mentioned with Door of Destinies, that was kind of weak in the standard that it saw, the last standard it saw. But that's because like there wasn't a big tribal, but also standard was really fast. That's also a thing. Way too fast for Door of Destinies. But like there wasn't like a huge tribal payoff. And also like even the modern deck Merfolk doesn't play it. It's kind of on the slower end. But that's what you unlock. You unlock these super mega powerful cards by playing tribal.
Yep. The next card is also sort of an Anthem effect, but this is a little bit different. Because the Anthem will stay even after Mimic leaves. Oh, it's Metallic Mimic. It's only 2 mana for a 2/1 Shapeshifter artifact creature. When it enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type, and Metallic Mimic is the chosen type in addition to its other types. Each creature you control of the chosen type enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. So Mimic is quite strong, especially if you're in a tribe that cares about counters. Yeah, so if you're playing, for example, Rishkar Elves, this is extremely strong. So every time you play an elf, they all become Landor Elves. But even in other tribal decks, this is an enter the battlefield effect, so it works on the token tribal as well. It doesn't limit yourself to the non-token tribals. So it's quite good. Next up, we have the artifacts that sort of cheat your creature into play, and the cheating of mana cost, dude, is so crazy strong. Belp's Portal is a 5-mana artifact that says when it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type, and you can pay 3 and tap Belp's Portal to put a creature card of the chosen type from your hand into play.
We know how good these effects are.
We know, and most of the time those are 4 mana. This is 3. And you can essentially, especially if you're playing like an Eldrazi tribal with like very expensive top end cards. Now you can
I'm
pay
gonna pay 3 mana and just put this Emrakul here. I hope you don't mind.
At end step, like sure, I don't get the on cast trigger, but you're still gonna mill 20 when I attack you.
Yeah.
On turn 5.
Yeah.
Pretty strong. The next one is kind of similar. Cryptic Gateway is a 5-mana artifact that allows you to tap 2 untapped creatures you control. You may put a creature card from your hand into play that shares a creature type with each creature tap this way.
Now, I would wager that Cryptic Gateway is better.
Oh, it's much better.
Oh, man.
If you have things that creates a token copy of something, when a similar creature type creature enters the battlefield, if you have ways to like double them, this goes infinite.
I think one cool thing that Wizards could do as like a balancing thing in the future, obviously, they could like design creatures and they could give them like a detrimental keyword, and the keyword would just basically say that this creature's mana cost can never be like discounted. So like you know how there are sometimes effects like you may play a creature card without paying its mana cost, or cast a spell without paying its mana cost. So like the keyword can be like this: you always have to pay the stated mana cost above, and it can't enter the battlefield from your hand or library or whatever without paying for it.
Yeah,
like that would be like a cool balancing thing.
That would be. Cryptic is an old card, and they it's kind of hard for them to see the crazy busted things. I mean, like I believe that Cryptic was printed with Johnny player in mind, because back in the days of Onslaught, Commander wasn't really a thing.
No, it wasn't a thing.
But down the road, people discovered different synergies with Cryptic Gateway. So, for example, Stormfront Riders is 4 and white for a 4/3 human soldier with flying. When it enters the battlefield, return 2 creatures you control to their owner's hand. And when Stormfront Rider or another creature is returned to your hand from the battlefield, you put a 1/1 white soldier creature token onto the battlefield. Have you heard of infinite combos? This is how you go infinite.
The OG Soldier Boy.
Yep.
All right, well, we got white now, right? White is right?
Yeah. Let's move into white is right. The first 2 are quite strong. Actually, the first one is quite strong. Harsh Mercy is 2 and a white for a sorcery that says each player choose a creature type, destroy all creatures. There aren't a type chosen this way. They can be regenerated.
I've heard that good sweepers are 4 mana. Good sweepers are 4 mana.
This is a 3-mana sweeper that sure it leaves like 1 or 2 creatures on your opponent's board
at most.
But especially nowadays that people are starting to get tired of tribal decks. This may be strong again because you're not gonna run into as much tribal decks as you used to in the past year, and Harsh Mercy is going to be quite strong if you are playing tribal yourself.
And yeah, even if you are playing tribal, you obviously you pick your own type and you blow up into one-sided board wipe.
Yep.
If you're not playing tribal, pick Xenagos.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It will suck if everyone is playing tribal and this card is just useless. Which is why it wasn't as good in the past year.
Yeah.
Now that trend has died down a little bit, maybe start playing this card again. This next card's Kindred Boon, 2 white for an enchantment. That says when it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. You can pay 1 and a white to put a Divinity counter on target creature you control of the chosen type. And each creature you control with a Divinity counter on it has indestructible. So this is like of the Kindred cycle. I think like actually we'll talk about all the Kindred cycle in this episode, but this is like one of the more interesting ones because not only it helps with your tribal strategy, but you know what I actually want to try is I want to put it in the spirits deck. You know, the ones from Kamigawa where you're playing the Kamis that comes in with a divinity counter on it where you can remove the divinity counter to do things. I think that would be quite sweet.
That actually does sound really sweet.
Yeah.
And almost as sweet as his next card.
So this next card is sweet indeed. Mirror Entity is 2 and a white for a 1/1 shapeshifter, which clearly passes the vanilla test, which is why it's so sweet. It's a changeling, which means it has every creature type. So you don't need to care about, you know, what type it is. But you can also pay X to say until end of turn, creatures you control have power and toughness XX and gains all creature type. Now that gaining all creature type thing, I don't know if it matters, but imagine a scenario where you have a board full of elves and then you pay like 15 because you're in elves.
Yeah.
You're playing green white. You have Reese as your commander, and you have all elves, and you play this guy, and you tap like half your elves, and now all your remaining elves are 15/15s.
This card reminds me of Modern Masters 2015 Limited because
it is in there.
Yeah, it was in there. When I was doing my set review of like the cards, I do this for every set where I do this for Limited. I just like look at all the cards and say, well, is this card good relative to the rest of the cards? Like it's like for example, one of the metrics is like how valuable is flying in this set. That's what that's like an analysis that I'll do. Anyways, when I was doing the review for this set, Modern Masters 2015, came across Mirror Entity. I'm like, well, you know, in Limited, let's say you got like 2 to 4 creatures out. You have Mirror Entity, and it's like, okay, it's a 3-mana 1/1, so yeah, it dies to like literally everything. But let's say it's late game and Limited, and you have 5 extra mana lying around, and you could just turn your whole board into 5/5s. Like I'm like, okay, that sounds pretty good. So I put this card up there. Like this card seems like a pretty good card to draft early. You know? And
that was just Limited.
Yeah, Limited.
Yeah, you don't even know what creature type you're gonna get.
Yeah. And turns out that if I recall correctly, the creature type wasn't super relevant. It was most relevant in the spirits. That was a deck. But spirits was about it. There were other archetypes, like there was a token strategy, there was artifact strategy. They didn't really care about the actual creature type itself.
Yeah. But this allows you to, even like if you have a board full of lords, and even if you have some creatures that are just there because of value. So, for example, if you have a Chupacabra and you have like a black-white knight stack, right? You have a Chupacabra in there because it's Chupacabra, so why not? Yeah, now the Chupacabra is going to become a knight.
Yep. And it's going to be based whatever.
All the benefits that all the other knights are getting.
Now, what I would recommend is just don't pay 0. That would be a bad idea. Unless you have counters and everything.
Yeah, sometimes even paying 0 is fine. Like, for example, when you have Dictate of Erebos, you pay 0, everything dies. And now all your opponent's things die too.
And you have a Blood Artist to go with that, right?
Exactly, you have Blood Artists. Literally kill everything and take all their creatures in life. It's pretty good. Let's move into blue. Blue, we have Call to the Kindred. 3 and a blue for an enchantment aura that enchants creature. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may look at the top 5 cards of your library. If you do, you may put a creature card that shares a creature type with enchanted creature from among them onto the battlefield. Then you may put the rest of those cards on the bottom of your library in any order.
I'm going to put this Emrakul here. I hope no one minds.
Yeah. And like blue, by the way, is enabled by this card called Arcane Adaptation, which is 2 and a blue enchantment that allows you to choose a creature type when it enters the battlefield, but creatures you control are the chosen type in additional to their other types. The same is true for creature spell you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. So Call to the Kindred basically allows you to cheat a creature in every turn if you have Arcane Adaptation out as well. But even without Arcane Adaptation, I think Call to the Kindred is like really strong. If you are in a dedicated tribal deck it's really hard for you to miss. Like if you're creature heavy, if you look at the top 5 cards, most of the time you're gonna hit something. Sometimes you're gonna hit like amazing things.
Or sometimes you're just gonna hit, like a Llanowar Elf. That's okay. It's a free Llanowar Elves.
Yeah, it's free Llanowar Elves. Speaking of free Llanowar Elves, this is actually a bad segue, but Distant Melody is 3 in a blue for a sorcery that says choose a creature type, draw a card for each permanent you control of that type.
Pretty good.
So I think the usual rate is 4 mana, draw 3 cards.
No. Usual rate is 5 mana, draw 3 at sorcery speed.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay.
Jace's Ingenuity was just a good exception. That was instant speed.
Right,
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So this is 4 mana, draw like 15 cards.
I don't know what you'd make. Maybe like blue, green.
Like if you're in Merfolk and you have a bunch of 1/1 Merfolk tokens, they all count, by the way.
Yeah. And then you got like what is it? The tower. Yeah, the Brown Land, the tower that says you have the maximum hand size.
Yeah. Reliquary Tower.
Yeah, Reliquary Tower. That's right. I couldn't think of the first word for some reason, but I knew it was a tower. Yeah, you have Reliquary Tower out. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna pick up my deck. Don't mind me.
Yeah, don't mind me. Also, don't mind me when I play this card. Kindred Discovery is 3 blue for an enchantment that enters the battlefield with a creature type chosen. And whenever a creature you control of the chosen type enters the battlefield or attacks, draw a card.
That's so good.
That is so crazy good. Wow.
And that is that. Okay, so here's a difference. Okay, it might be easy to say, oh, Kindred Discovery. That's the same thing as a Vanquish's Banner. 5 mana, both have this draw card trigger. But there is actually a very key distinction between these two cards. Vanquish's Banner cares about creature spell on cast. Okay, this card just says whenever a creature you control of the chosen type. So tokens count too.
Yeah. Make a bunch of Merfolk 1/1 tokens, and you're drawing cards, and when those 1/1 token attacks, you draw again.
Another creature type where you just can spam like tons of them are soldiers. What if you somehow play like blue-white soldier deck, and like you play like Lay the Waste with this out? It's like
oh my gosh.
Imagine this. It's like, would you play a Sphinx's Revelation, but it's 2 mana cheaper, and instead of you gaining life, you just won't get that many soldiers?
Imagine somehow you're playing bands, and you play March the Multitudes.
Oh no. Oh man.
Or you secure the ways, and then march the Multitudes.
With a Reliquary Tower out.
Yep.
And that's all in step.
You will mill yourself out.
No, it's okay. You're in blue. You have Laboratory Maniac. It's all good.
Exactly. Let's move to black. Black is actually fairly weak.
I thought red was going to be the weakest.
We thought red would be weak too, but apparently black is very weak. They don't really care about creature types that much.
Well, I mean, yeah, black has a few lords. Like these are kind of like we kind of picked out like the underground cards that you could apply to anyone,
right? Yeah, we're trying to think of like cards that cares about anyone, not just we care about zombie. Like if you want to care about zombie, then,
there are tons of lords
there are
tons of
them, right?
Tons. We just weren't aiming for that. So
yeah, we're trying to go for the general good stuff that applies to all creature types, and black just doesn't have that many.
Yeah,
the first one though is quite strong. Cover of Darkness is 1 of black for an enchantment that comes into play with a creature type chosen, and creatures of the chosen type have fear, which says they can't be blocked except by artifact creatures or black creatures.
Yeah, so if you're playing against non-black players, and that wasn't a racist joke, pretty good card. And one thing I dislike about this art though is like the card or the guy in the art, like Cover of Darkness, like that's like a phrase where it's like, oh, we'll be shrouded in the cover of darkness, so you'll be concealed or camouflaged. And this guy just has like a lamp out. Like I'm totally gonna negate the cover of darkness.
Yeah, he's not being covered by any darkness. Or maybe he is like a cover. He's like a front of darkness.
What if he's the front, and what if the shadows in the back are actually
and he's so big that he's covering all the darkness.
Wow. All right, I dig it now.
Yeah, he ate too much fish burgers.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah, Patriarch Spitting is 3 black for a sorcery that says each player choose a creature type, and then each player returns all creature cards of a type chosen this way from his or her library to play.
Now, like, obviously, not just one player picks. Everybody picks for their own graveyard. So, like, everybody's going to get something back. Okay, but typically, if you're the only player, the only tribal player sitting at the table, which with how the meta is shifting now, that's going to be way more likely. You know, this is more likely to end up just being like, okay, I'm going to take my graveyard and put it on the battlefield, and then everybody else just gets like their one like kind of okay card back. You know, like
Yeah. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Your opponents are always going to get their strongest card back because if they have Emrakul in their graveyard,
somehow,
they are going to name Eldrazi.
If they somehow have an Emrakul in their graveyard as you're resolving this card, then yeah.
Yeah, like they are going to do that. So be careful, but even though your opponents are always going to get their best thing back, you are getting all your things back, which, you know, if we know anything, we know 13 squirrels beats an Emrakul. So
that's so dumb. Why should that many squirrels have any business beating this like majestic divine being?
I don't know.
Eats entire like planes and planets.
I don't know, but that's the way it goes, and you can ask Cardboard Crack. I'll like the comic.
Those are some strong squirrels. That's all I'm gonna say.
Those are some really strong squirrels. Anyways, moving on, we also have Kindred Dominance as another one of those board wipe effects that cares about creature types.
It's literally the same thing as the White Sweeper.
Yeah, except it costs 5 more. It costs 4 more.
Harsh Mercy. It's literally the same card as Harsh Mercy, but it costs 4 mana. But you get to play it in black decks. I mean, that's the upside. Silver lining. Silver lining.
Yeah.
Man, it was true all along. The white privilege was true all along. The white version of this card costs 4 mana less. They were right all.
They were white. Well, actually, they were white all along.
No.
Kindred Dominance, though, there's a slight difference between Kindred Dominance and Harsh Mercy. And the difference not only in the mana cost, but in the rules text as well. Harsh Mercy negates regenerations where Kindred Dominance doesn't. So this is not only strictly worse, but like also like super strictly worse.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you do get to. That's an expensive 4 mana choice, though. I think I'd still rather take Harsh Mercy, even though, like, you know what I'm saying, man.
Yeah, but if you're playing mono black, go for this one. When your meta is not tribal heavy, this is gonna be better than Damnation.
Or be the only one playing like that really off the wall tribal.
Yeah.
All right, so red is actually interesting.
Yeah, another card from the Kindred cycle. We talked about 3 of them already. This is the 4th one. Kindred charges 4 red for sorcery. Choose a creature type. For each creature you control of the chosen type, create a token that's a copy of that creature. Those tokens gain haste. You exile them at the beginning of the next end step.
This is a little expensive at 6 mana, but the effect is absolutely bonkers.
I mean, would you pay 6 mana for 20 goblins with haste?
Nah, man. I called this ain't it, Chief. Nah. I'm gonna have to pass.
Yeah? Okay.
No, of course I would. Like,
yeah. Mana Echoes is 2 red for an enchantment that says, whenever a creature comes into play, you may add 1 colorless to your mana pool for each creature you control that shares a creature type with it. So if you are playing your famous goblin deck, if you're playing Krenko, and you already have 6 goblin mobs on your battlefield, now when you cast another goblin,
or just any creature of that type enters, doesn't even have to be playing from a card.
Yeah, it can be anything. You create.
You turn Krenko sideways.
You turn Krenko sideways, and now you have 1,000,000 mana because this is busted.
I'd like a couple Banefires, please.
Yep, exactly. Oh my gosh.
I'm making that deck now.
Wow, I can't believe it. Wow, you made elfless elf ball.
Yep.
That is crazy. Right, in the case of Krenko, you can stack in a way where you get your goblins first.
Yes.
Yeah,
well, you get
all
them,
your goblins will see each other enter the battlefield.
Yeah.
So when they all get dumped onto the battlefield, you get Mana Echo will see all of them, and they'll all get the same amount of mana. So
they will.
like you will have like 100 colorless mana in your mana pool, and by casting Fireball, then you will be able to kill everyone.
Let's say, okay, so we all know what Krenko does, but just in case we don't know,
let's read him.
The relevant part of Krenko is when you tap him. He's a 4-mana commander, and when you tap him, you effectively double the amount of goblins you have. So for each goblin or each creature that is a goblin that you control, make a 1/1 token, a 1/1 goblin token.
That's including
that's
Krenko himself.
Yeah, including Krenko. Krenko is a goblin. Don't forget. So let's say you have 4 goblins out total, Krenko included. You tap, all right, and you make 4 new goblins. Now you have 8 goblins. You just made 32 mana by turning Krenko sideways.
That is quite strong.
I think Krenko now holds the record for strongest mana dork. Not even an elf, not even in green.
Oh my gosh. That is quite strong. Probably stronger than Marin.
I have to make this deck now.
Wow, unbelievable. Mono red. Who said mono red is weak at ramps?
Yeah, who said mono red? No. They have Simian Spirit Guide. They have all the rituals. Like what?
They have mana echoes.
And that was just with 4 goblins out. Like, what if you played like goblin like dragon fodder Krenko? That's 5 goblins.
Oh my gosh.
And then you turn them sideways. That's 50 mana. Just that one extra, just going from 4 to 5 goblins.
See, I don't like now that we said this, I don't think anyone is gonna let any Krenko stay on the table whenever they play against Krenko.
By the way, pro tip: if you're playing against a Krenko player, you kill Krenko.
Yeah, don't let them call you cranky. You just get rid of it.
Don't get mind game. It's not worth it. Don't get cute. Just shoot him. Shoot Krenko.
Yeah, like I mean, you can still try the politics if you want your opponents to get rid of it, but if you don't trust them, just get rid of it yourself, because it's quite strong.
You can't let Krenko sit on the table.
It's too good. Almost as strong as the. Actually, no, it's totally stronger than this next card. But this next card, Share Animosity, which is 2 and a red for an enchantment that says whenever a creature you control attacks, it gains +1/+0 until end of turn for each other attacking creature that shares a creature type with it.
Oh, bro. So there are goblin lords that give all your goblins haste, right? I mean, I know that there's a 3 mana one, and then you have Simian Spirit Guide, you have mana echoes, so you could like mana echoes into some just like 1 or 2 goblins extra, but preferably more. Shared Animosity, and then you give all your goblins haste. It's gonna work. And then, so even if you attack with just 5 goblins, well, like 5 goblins sounds reasonable to me. Haste, all hasted. Plus
that sounds
5.
so disgusting.
5, 6 ones.
That sounds so disgusting. Oh my gosh.
Here's the new goblin deck.
But moving on to green.
Green's also pretty good.
Green is also pretty good. Now that I heard about the Krenko thing, though, I don't know if green can top it. But
yeah, no, probably not.
There are a lot of green cards. Green probably cares about creature types, generic creature types the most. The first one we want to talk about is Tribal Unity. As an instance that costs X2 green, creature type of your choice gets +X until end of turn. Like not just one, but all of them.
That's really good. And now you might think, oh, that sounds kind of expensive. And you're right. Like compared to like Overrun, I think Overrun's 5 mana +3/+3 Tribal, right? Or +3/+3 or something. Yeah. So like if you're on the lower end of the mana curve, yeah, this is a little overpriced. Like would you pay 4 mana for +1/+1 for all your creatures? Like no, not really. Like the real power in this card, and the hint is that it's in green, is like you're paying 9 mana for this thing. Like +6/+6. Like that's nutty.
That's pretty nuts. There's also another clause that says whenever enchanted creature is put into a graveyard, you may return Reigns of the Fine Steed from your graveyard to play attached to a creature that shares the creature type with that creature.
Yeah, so like +2/+2 isn't the greatest, but like, this is recurring value. It's just good.
It's a better Rancor because you don't need to recast it now.
I dig. I like this card. Also, this art is tripping me out, bro. This art is tripping me out.
Is it though?
Yeah, it is.
Why?
I can't tell what's going on in this art, and I'm not sure I want to know.
You mean for Reigns of Fine Steed?
Yeah.
Those are the reins
of
a steed that's made with vines.
It looks like she's just like playing in a bush.
Yeah. Speaking of art though, this next card has hands down my favorite art in Magic the Gathering.
Is that because it's by Therese Nielsen?
It is by Therese Nielsen, but it is not because of that. It is because this art I think is amazing. I have this art hung in my living room, framed, and it looks like an actual art. Descendant's Path is 2 green enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you reveal the top card of your library. If it is a creature card that shares a creature type of a creature you control, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Otherwise, you put that card on the bottom of your library.
Seems good.
It could be a lot stronger, but you get a lot of incidental value of this card, especially when you're playing things that cares about swarming. If you're playing elves, if you're playing merfolk, this will help you with drawing those cards a lot, and it helps you to filter cards that. I mean, it doesn't help you to filter cards that you don't want, because like there are times where you will reveal a card that you actually want, but it's not a creature that shares a type, so it goes to the bottom. But I think it's good. I think, but it's my pet card. What do you think?
It's a good card, and also it's all random, like because it's not that you're skipping your draw step. It's possible that you reveal like a good card that you want, and it's a creature, and you put it on the battlefield, and then you draw the other card that's not a creature. But it's all random,
It's like you're not drawing that card anyway, so who cares?
Yeah.
Next card is Steely Resolve, which is also an enchantment, but this time is 1 green. When it comes into play, you choose a creature type. Creatures of the chosen type can't be the target of spells or abilities.
Has Shroud basically, and so. This one you may want to like refrain from playing depending on the strategy you're going. Like if you have a lot of things that you need to target your own stuff with, you might want to avoid this one. But if you're not going for that, this card's great.
Yeah, but if you are going for that though, this is a very similar card. Next up is Asceticism. It's 3 green for an enchantment that says creatures you control can be the targets of spells or abilities your opponents control. So this is hexproof. And you can pay 1 green to regenerate target creature. This card is stupid.
I like it. I dig.
I mean, this card literally says your opponents can no longer get rid of your things.
Unless they play Wrath of God.
Unless they play Wrath of God. Or like Cleansing Nova, like exile everything. But
yeah,
this card is crazy good.
Pretty good, I hear.
Yeah. The last card is probably the best card of the Kindred cycle, I believe. Like, it may not be, like, some would argue the blue one is the best one.
To be fair, like, the bottom of the Kindred cycle they're setting a very low bar. But
yeah, they are. But
yeah,
I think
this one's pretty good.
Yeah, this is quite amazing. 5 green for an instant that says choose a creature type, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal X creature cards of the chosen type, where X is the number of creatures you control of that type. Put those cards onto the battlefield, then shuffle the rest of the revealed cards into your library. Can you imagine how insane this card is?
I don't need to imagine.
Like,
I don't need to imagine.
Like, 7 mana, summon your deck. That's what this card is.
Yeah, this card should basically say seven mana. Search your library for all lands. Take them out of your deck. Put the rest of your deck onto the battlefield, and then shuffle the land back.
Yeah.
Like that's basically what this card says.
Like, if you already have Arcane Adaptation out,
get all your creatures out to the battlefield.
oh my gosh. Or like Conspiracy. Oh, I can't believe we didn't talk about Conspiracy. That is a card that kind of slipped through. I'm going to talk about Conspiracy too.
All right, do it.
So
honorable mention.
Not really. It's forgotten mention, but let's talk about it. Conspiracy is an enchantment that costs 3 black. It's not the card type. It's an actual enchantment called Conspiracy, which unfortunately led down to the path where they cannot name any Conspiracy cards Conspiracy because this card exists. But as Conspiracy enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type. Creatures you control are the chosen type. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. So this is exactly the same as Arcane Adaptation, except it's black.
Yep, but it costs a little more. That's the cost of being black. Man, they really hammered black. They're so disadvantaged.
But the thing is, if you have Arcane Adaptation or Conspiracy on the battlefield already, Kindred Summons is insane. It's amazingly strong. Kindred Summons.
I believe it.
Oh, unbelievable.
No, I believe it. It's not unbelievable. I believe it.
It's not okay. But I think that's all the cards that we have prepared. I think that's a lot of staple cards. But I'm sure that we definitely have forgotten about something like we did Conspiracy. So if
don't say we forgot. We didn't forget. It's just honorable mention.
Okay, fine. It's an honorable mention. Brawlers is an honorable mention. We didn't forget about anything. Haha, we're perfect beings.
But it's not even that. It's not like we missed like a really OP card. It's like literally the same thing as Arcane Adaptation, but in black.
Okay, I see how it is. But Brawlers, if you can think of any cards that we should add to this list, let us know. You can either find us on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube on Brawling Pit. You can find us on Reddit at r/brawlingpit. Email us at brawlingpitmtg@gmail.com, or you can visit our official website at brawlingpit.com, which on our website we're also doing a campaign.
We're supporting
the fish burger. Fiasco. We're not.
We're against humans against fish burgers.
No, we're not.
We're not.
No, we're not.
You're leaving me out to high and dry here to hang.
You can post that article yourself. I'm not doing it.
Wow.
I didn't even know about it until now.
Wow. He's leaving me out to dry.
But yeah, as always, thanks for listening. See you next week.
Hey, so what are you doing this weekend? Friday the 9th of the weekend, or the weekend of the 9th?
Well, so Saturday morning, I'm driving to the Oregon coast for a pool tournament. Pool as in like billiards, not like people in swimsuits.
Well, I think that's a good distinction to make because here in the northern hemisphere, it's getting quite cold.
Yeah, so definitely not swimming, but I'm going to be shooting spheres on a very smooth table.
Balls.
Balls. Yeah, we're playing.
Nobody laugh. nobody do what I'm doing. Nobody laugh.
Dude, I'm a pool player. I've heard enough balls jokes. And we also have like on our cue, or some people would call it cue stick. Like we have made a fair share of shaft jokes or stick jokes.
Bro. Okay, hold on. Before I lose it, I gotta say, I remember like a year ago, you sent me a list of banned pool team names. Okay, I swear to God, I'm an adult, but I lost it. I felt like a 12-year-old kid reading that list again.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't know if it's a good idea for us to read that list.
No. Well, we have to. Okay. No. We're gonna read some of the list. Some of them are a little too suspicious to read, but we'll read some of them.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
We have to read. We have to read some of them that aren't as suspicious, but they get the point
Okay.
across.
So for a complete list, you can go down to the show notes, which we will post.
Yeah.
We'll post this list to the show notes.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
all right, I'm gonna let you choose because I don't even know what's not appropriate anymore. But I'm gonna let you do the honors.
Okay. So these are some of the more acceptable ones, but still banned. To see the full list of risque names that are banned. Okay, so we're gonna rattle off a couple of them. So one of the band names, 7 sticks and a nice rack. Okay, now I mean I can appreciate 7 nice, well polished sticks. You know, like they obviously take care of their wood and they polish them every day and keep them clean. You know, and the rack is consistently used and not abused. You know what I'm saying?
The sticks or the pool cues and the rack is the thing. Is the triangle thing where you put the pool balls into.
Is absolutely not a euphemism for anything else.
Yeah, their team definitely does not consist of 7 guys and 1 woman.
No, I mean it might, but like there's no way to discern that. You know, like.
Oh yeah, who cares? It could be 8 guys, 7 guys and 1 bigger guy.
Yeah, and I don't know. It could be anything. There's no way to tell. You can't tell.
Yep.
Not from the team name at least. You know, it's just
no.
And
I can't.
Another name, and another name that's completely, totally not a euphemism at all. Is all bust and no balls. You know, like.
Oh my gosh.
I just. I don't know. And, here's another one that's also on the completely not risque is 6 balls and 3 pockets. You know, it's just.
Jesus Christ.
It's like I don't know. Like these team names, I can't think of why they're banned. I just. Yeah, I got no clue, man.
Okay.
No, I can't. I tried to deliver those names with as straight of a face as possible, but
gosh. Pool players are very vulgar creatures.
Dude, I don't know. It's in a non-risque way of saying this. Here's a lesson I've learned. You know, farting jokes will never not be funny. You just learn when to not laugh at them. But that's the nice way of putting that joke. There's a dirty way of putting that joke.
Wow.